Hello, BookTube, and I have a reading project I'd like to do. But first of all, I want to say is that a few of you that have been eagle-eyed have noticed I can do this. There's no columns of books beside me. And so I've been excavating books. When I first started that, I found Edgar, and Edgar was sitting here. But now there's nowhere for him to really sit anymore. So I might put him up here. That might be a good place, somewhere along here. I'll have to move some books out, but that might be a good place. Then he can look over me. He can look over my shoulder and make sure I don't cause any trouble. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I've been excavating and I've been finding wonderful things and lots of books. And here's one. It's called The Bankrupt Bookseller by Will Y. Darling. This was is a combined edition of two volumes. This was published by Robert Grant and Son in 1947 out of Edinburgh. The original two books were obviously separate, but the first one was The Private Papers of a Bankrupt Bookseller, first published by Oliver and Boyd in 1931. And then The Bankrupt Bookseller Speaks Again, first published by Oliver and Boyd 1938. And this is the collected volume in 1947. Now, I propose to read it. There is the foreword to the combined first edition, but that sort of spoils a little bit, so I'm going to skip that. And we'll jump right in, and we'll go to the foreword of the Private Papers of a Bankrupt Bookseller. And that was written by the editor who compiled this, XZE. Forward. As the discovery of the pages which form this book, I have been asked to write a few words of introduction. It is the general wish that the author's name, place of business, and town be kept a secret. I agree to this, as I have now taken over the premises of the deceased for the extension of my business as a ladies' outfitter. I do not intend to take the opportunity, although I am tempted to do so, to clear my own character from some of the comments made by the deceased. I merely wish to inform readers as to facts. The deceased came to our town and bought a bookselling business. The business he bought was not in a good way when he bought it, and he paid too much for it. The rent paid was absurd, and he had fancy ideas to what books he would keep and even what books he would sell. I heard him refusing to sell a book because he said he wanted it for himself. I am told he was a good man at his trade, but I never saw it. He got into trouble with the bank and his creditors in the end. They were going to sell him up, and he was found in his back shop with his head lying on a cushion on the gas stove. The gas was full on and not lighted. The stove was one of the new kind, more like an ordinary grate than the upright sort. The place was sold up, and I bought some of the fixtures, including the back shop furniture. In the kitchen cupboard there were piles of sheets of white window paper, torn roughly into squares. On these were a lot of writing, all in pencil, all about books. I kept these papers and showed them to his relatives, who told me that they were manuscripts for a book. They belonged to America and only happened to be in the country when they saw the paragraph in the papers about his death. They asked me to see if I could get some of them published, and I have done so. I can only say that I think the failure was due partly to lack of capital and partly to lack of business experience. He also had been hit on the head in the war. He was a man I was always sorry for. It has helped the book. It is hoped that the book will interest those who care for booksellers and their point of view, and that it will give a good sale. And again, as I say, signed by XZE. Initials. And each one is a bit of a like a very short pieces, so I'll read a few of them and we'll see how we go. And do let me know if you want them longer, shorter, or it'll be in addition to probably most of my other videos. So if that's too much per day, then I can substitute and work around that. And just let me know. So the first section, or the first essay or first bit, is called Achievement. This is achievement, and I want no higher. And then he quotes a poem, a part of a poem. I will not think how far I come, how fasted in the rebel winds remote, how rode down folly, gripped with shame, to reach yon hill of God. Some day I will think how far I've come, but not today. It is achievement that fills me. The follies ridden down and shames outlived are behind me. I have reached the hill of God on earth for me, and now I can contentedly look out through my open shop door and see the trees on the other side of the street, green and glad, and on either side of me books. I am a bookseller. I am not a bookseller born and bred. I am one who has come late to the craft, but if late, none not less lovingly. Books are a transcript of life, they say, but to me they are more than a transcript. They are life itself, for as it was in the beginning, it is now, and ever shall be. In the beginning was the Word. I don't remember my first book. I was always a reader of books. I never was a student. I love books in bulk, and again, I loved books in bulk, and the strain of the collector is stronger in me than the savant. I love books for themselves, as a naturalist loves all nature, so I love all books. And today is the day of achievement. I stand and look down the little avenue of books, which is my shop. On each side there are shelves, and on these shelves are my books. All day long I live my life between these two parallel straight lines, which I know from my recollections of Euclid may be extended into infinity and yet will never meet. I stand between these lines that lead to infinity, and I, myself, am buttressed by these protecting walls. There might have been other achievements, but none could have given me my present happiness. After all, what more can the reasonable man ask if life than I have? I had my call, and now have my calling. Like Joan of Arc, I have my voices, and though others do not hear them, my happiness in this that I have heard. I am among the chosen, my chosen, and these chosen are my children. Like children too, they will leave me. That dreadful pleasure, the pleasurable dread that the mother knows is mine. With infinite labor, I have got these children of mine, and my happiness will be in their going out into the world, just as a mother's happiness lies in her child's going forth from her fireside. The mother's misery, too, is mine. I will not part with any of my darlings without a pang. I may be, none will go without a prayer. It may be, none will go without a prayer. But all will go, nay, all must go. For these have no permanent abiding place for me if I have to live, and if they have to live out their usefulness. It is my achievement, this housing of the infinite for a time, this laying of hands on what is to be, God grant it, hopefully and helpfully to the world that I am to meet here as I stand between these serried shelves of books. Writing these words, I remember a print of the French bookshops in the Palais Royal. I would like my shop to be like that, well-filled bookshelves with graceful ladies. I am at elegance. I hope I am going to attract pretty women for my neighbor next door. Beauty. Tell me when. Another quote of a poem. Tell me where is fancy bred, in the heart or in the head? I can't answer Shakespeare's question, but I want to answer to the question, whence comes beauty? Keats tells me that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. But what is beauty? Bacon declares that is the best part of beauty which a picture cannot express. Maysfield has it that the loveliest thing of beauty God ever has shown to me are her voice and her hair and her eyes and the dear red lips of her, the dear red curve of her lips. My own favorite God is beauty in this instance is in Maurice Hewitt's Open Country, a book which ought to be a classic if only for the character of John Maxwell Senhouse. Here is how he puts it in one of his letters to Sanchia, and there's a paragraph quotation. The flush of dawn, there'll be a lot that still wonder in your God. The wrath of a storm, music, the rhythm, endless world without end. Of running water, children's voices, an old man blessing a young one, a young man's louting to an old man, a beautiful thing. A windless evening in autumn when the sky is translucent violet, fainting to white and the moon rides out, color of an old coin. The sun on a brown hill, hares at play in young corn, a mother cat in lazy ease, all her troubles over, gravely watching her kittens and purring entire contentment. Any mother of any baby, and any father of any fine young man ready to go out into the world, any girl with her sweetheart, any boy on his first adventure, day and night, rain, spring sounds, lambs in the pasture, the cuckoo over the copse, the sea asleep and the sea at rage. There's no need to separate them. They are indistinguishable, and well for us that it be so. End of quote. Robert Bridges has, however, the final word in the passage from Plotinus, translated by him in The Spirit of Man. Another quotation. For the absolute good is the cause and source of all beauty, just as the sun is the source of all daylight, and it cannot therefore be spoken or written, yet we speak and write of it in order to start and escort ourselves on the way and arouse our minds to the vision. And I'll stop it there, and do let me know if this is something you want to continue. I could read more parts. I could go up 15 or 20 minutes or even half an hour. But and how often do you want it in as extra to my other videos? Or tell me, get lost, you don't want anything more and you're not interested in this. Do let me know, BookTube. Take care.